Welcome to Youth Can Change the World. Today I'll be interviewing Eli Waldman, a young filmmaker who's building up an impressive resume. He got his start in Document Historic Arlington, where he and his team made Arlington's Heroes, a documentary about Arlington during World War I. He has since had an internship with Steven Spielberg's Shoah Foundation, where he helped document the stories of victims of genocide. Eli is currently creating a documentary about Free Minds, a group that encourages inmates to express themselves through writing groups, which include people from the community. Welcome, Eli. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. So, can you tell us a bit about how you got your start in videography?
Yeah, so I think I was in ninth grade, and I knew film was something I was interested in, and I think I was just on the internet roaming around to try to find things I could do over the summer during the school year that could, help me gain this knowledge that the film experience, film education. And so I found you guys, found Arlington Independent Media, and I stumbled upon your internship, and it seemed like the great opportunity. I'm really into history, and so combining history and filmmaking, something I really wanted to get into, it seemed like the perfect opportunity, and it really was. And I've learned so much from you guys. Arlington Independent Media is the only reason that I have been able to do all the stuff outside of school and all the stuff I've been able to do. It's all because of you guys. So.
That's great. So we were just as lucky to have you on that project, the Document Historic Arlington, where, of course, you and your team made that amazing video about Arlington during World War I. Now, after you made that video, you guys did such a good job that it gained quite a lot of recognition. It was played in all kinds of groups and celebrations of the 100th anniversary of the war. And you got to do something as a result. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I was invited to go to France to celebrate the American 100th, the centennial of World War I. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I got to be with, executives and board members, all from France and the United States, that came to this centennial, and it was in the outskirts of about 2 hours outside of Paris to the north. And it was such a cool experience. I got to be with, it was four other people, four other high schoolers, two from Kansas, and then two from right outside of Kansas. It's around the area. And we were with two chaperones, one from Clemson, and then one who taught at the school that the other kids went to in Kansas. And it was such a cool experience for me to get to immerse myself in a new culture and go to all these historic battle sites and monuments and cemeteries and commemorate the lives of the soldiers that fought in World War I. And it was such an honor to represent my country. And so it was hands down one of the most unique experiences I've had, because I don't speak French. I took 4 years of Spanish. And so that did not help me much. But,
did you ever try speaking Spanish while you were there?
I did not, unfortunately. No, but the chaperones were great. They spoke French, and because I have some pretty serious food allergies, and so they were able to help me and get me all the food I needed and communicate fluently. So it was such a cool experience that stemmed from what we did here at Arlington Independent Media. So
that's amazing. Are you still in touch with anyone that you met on that trip?
I'm in touch with the chaperones and then one of the other students that was on the trip. So yeah, we still keep in touch.
Neat. Sure. And these were just like countryside towns that most people don't visit.
Right, yeah. These towns don't get a ton of tourism, but around this time of year, they were flooded with tourists from the United States coming to a lot of these towns, which are home to the battle sites and fields where battles were fought. And so it was, totally rural towns that you wouldn't expect have such a unique and really cool history.
That's amazing. So that all kind of, you got to see the places where some of the people from Arlington, who you made the documentary about, were sent to fight.
Yeah, so all these, really cool connections that, halfway across the world. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome. So in addition to that amazing experience, you took your experience making a documentary with Document Historic Arlington, and you moved it to the next level. Can you tell us about other opportunities you applied for after making that documentary?
Right. So after I made the documentary here with you guys at AIM, I reached out to a nonprofit organization that I've heard of in the past. It's called Free Minds, and they basically work with. It started as a book club for prisoners in jail in in a local DC jail, and it's for the prisoners to get them. Prison's such a terrible place, and they wanted to let the prisoners express themselves in a healthy way. And so they would bring in books, they would have these poetry sessions with the prisoners, and all just great stuff to get them to really express themselves because they're in this such a gruesome, gray place. And so having the ability to be able to like take a deep breath and be able to put your feelings on paper and have people that care about you was really something that Free Minds wanted to do. And so they started it several years ago. And they basically stemmed out after that. And they're starting to work with ex-cons. So now, once these prisoners are done with their sentence, they come out and they work for Free Minds, and they help Free Minds spread their mission. And they basically host these things called Right Nights. And these Right Nights are where they'll be held at local church, a mosque, community center, synagogue, what have you. And they'll basically have people from the community come, and they'll take the poetry from the prisoners while they're in jail, and they'll send it out to Free Minds, and Free Minds will host these Right Nights. The Right Nights, people from the community come to the mosque, church, what have you, and then they basically write directly on the poems, and they leave their feedback directly on the poems. You can draw pictures, you can comment anything you like, basically. And it's a really cool way to show the prisoners that are still in jail that people care about you and people are interested in you. And I think that's what makes Free Minds such a beautiful program, is that they're trying to show people who, a lot of these guys don't have supportive families, and they don't have people looking out for them, and to show that a stranger, took the time to write on this poem and show you that they care is such a really awesome thing.
Yeah, it really sounds like it gives them evidence that their words were actually heard.
Exactly,
and
exactly.
listened to.
Exactly. And that's their mission, is to have voices heard.
Yeah.
For sure. And so I've been documenting a few of the guys, a few of the ex-cons who now work for Free Minds. And I've been following one of the men. I've been following him over the past year now and tracking his journey since he's been released from prison. It's been a really interesting experience for me, and watching this guy grow and evolve and change. I've been able to see in just a year. He's such a different person. He's absolutely amazing, and so that's what I've been working on. I've been following his journey.
When did this person that you have been following, when was he released from prison?
He was released from prison, I think it was about 3 years ago. And so he's been back a couple of years, and it's been especially interesting following someone that's been released several years ago, because you get to hear firsthand the experience of reintegration, which is, it's not something that you think about normally, but I think a lot of these guys are sent to prison, and Free Minds works with, it's all nonviolent crimes, and so a lot of these guys are sent to prison with extended sentences, and they're really ridiculously long. And so I think basically it's hearing the firsthand about what it was like to just come back to society. A lot of these guys went to jail when they were 15, 16, in high school, coming out of high school. And so they don't know how to do taxes, how to look after your house, how to do the basic necessities of life. And I think that Free Minds has been helping these guys do it, but they can't do everything. And so I think hearing firsthand from someone that's been through this extensive process, this stressful process, has been really, really powerful.
I can imagine. And also, like, how do you apply for jobs with that felony on your record? A lot of places still ask for that.
Right. It's been super tough for a lot of the guys, yeah. But they're so persistent, and a lot of them have been able to just persevere, power through. And a lot of these guys have jobs. Like the guy I'm working with has a job. He's doing great, looking for promotions. So he's doing great. And that's the case for most of the guys.
That's really amazing. That's really good to hear, too.
Yeah, definitely.
So have you managed to actually get interviews with this guy who?
I have, yeah. So I've been interviewing him. I've been to most of the Write Nights for about a year. They have one about once a month, and so I've been able to go to the Write Nights. I've been able to, catch him at the end, during, and after. I've been interviewing some of the community members that come and write on the poems, which is really cool.
Wow.
I've interviewed a pair of like an ex-con who comes to the Write Night, and then a community member that he's met and bonded with over the past 2 years, and so they're really good friends, and the dynamic they have is awesome. So they're always hugging each other, and it's great.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing thing. And that's the focus of the documentary, is this one person story, and then all the things that surround it.
Exactly. So the focus the focus is really, I think, adversity, because I'm dealing with two groups. So I'm dealing with this one man tracking his journey on his journey back from prison and trying to find himself in reintegration, and how he's persevered through his challenges and through the tough times that life has just thrown his way.
Yeah.
And I'm also working with a group of refugees from West Africa.
Oh, wow.
And so it's been really cool working with them, because my family has known them for a couple years now, and we haven't really heard their story. They're just really nice people, and so now we're getting to. I'm going to start interviewing them very soon, and so I'm going to try to include that, because it's a really interesting aspect to hear two different stories about adversity, because both the refugees and the ex-cons have gone through adversity in their life, and it's both different forms of adversity. And I think getting the two perspectives, one from a refugee who was the family that was forced to flee their home, and then one from an ex-con, it's going to be a really cool dynamic for sure.
Are they ever going to meet each other in the documentary?
The goal right now is to have this refugee family, or some of the people I'm focusing on interviewing, the family, to come to one of the Write Nights and meet a couple of the guys that I'm interviewing at Free Minds. Have them join up, and so I'm really excited.
Wow, so that common bond of overcoming obstacles and
exactly. I think that is
really
what
substantial.
Exactly, and it's gonna. I think having a common terrible thing happen is also what unites us a lot of the time. So I think I'm really looking forward to it, and they're both very similar in that both this family and a lot of the Write Night guys, they're all so enthusiastic, so willing to share their stories, so passionate about what they've been doing now, and so it's going to be great.
That sounds amazing.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, wow. So have you considered any filming in the prison itself, like people reading over the feedback of what they've gotten, or is that even possible? So
unfortunately, it's not possible for me to get access, just because I'm underage and also filming in the prison. It's unfortunately I don't have access, but that's totally something.
Has to do with your age.
Yeah, for sure, and it has to. Yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it. But I think a lot of it would violate some of the rules. But I think for sure it's a disappointment. But I think I'll be able to make up for it in some other ways or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of access.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And a lot of trust that you've built, despite the the limitations on what people allow you to do, because you're not 18 and you can't sign off. It's okay if something bad happens.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So I also understand you've been involved with the Shoah Foundation.
Shoah Foundation, yeah. They, this was, I think, the summer going into 10th grade. And so I was out to dinner with some friends one night, our family friends, and they mentioned that one of the parents, their niece, had been in this program, the Shoah Foundation Junior Internship Program. And they mentioned it to me and said, you know what, you should try to apply. I think it'd be something you'd be really interested in, because it deals with filmmaking, and it also deals with just analyzing this testimony that the Shoah Foundation has built up over years and years, since right after the Holocaust. Yeah. And I think their motto, "Why was there," was stronger than hate, and it's still one of their mottos that they go with. And it's such a powerful message, especially today, I think. And so basically, I applied for the internship, and I was one of the, I think, 3 or 4 junior interns that would Skype into their meetings, because it's based in USC, California, Los Angeles. So there's
Wow.
no way I can fly there.
They didn't fly you back and forth?
No, unfortunately. But so I got to just Skype in, and it was great. They do an amazing job with the virtual interns, and unfortunately, the program's now canceled just because it ended up being it was way too expensive. Because they would fly us out actually for one weekend, all the interns, and we got to spend the whole weekend there at USC learning on the campus with all the other interns. I met some people there, the other interns that I still talk to today all the time, and I'm getting advice from, because a lot of them have now graduated the program and are in college, and so I'm getting a lot of advice. Hey, have you heard about this college? Can you let me know about this college or anything like that? And they're awesome. They'll always offer advice, and so
That's
a ton of the
amazing.
guys and girls I still talk to today.
Wow. So when you were out there, what was your day like?
They set up this really cool, all-encompassing weekend program where they basically took, we went to a Japanese internment camp museum. Basically, we learned the history of that. We worked on our documentary project that was about, with the motto "Stronger Than Hate." We analyzed the testimony.
Did you do filming?
We did some filming, but mostly we worked with the testimony, edited the testimony, found ways to include it in other parts of the Shoah Foundation and spread their message, really, which is such an amazing message. And I am now one of their emissaries, and so I basically have been spreading their Shoah Foundation curriculum and testimony throughout schools in Arlington, through my school, Yorktown High School, and so that's been really cool. I think some of the history teachers at my school are going to start using, because the 9th and 10th grade English classes we read Mouse, we read Night, and so I think pairing it with the testimony from real Holocaust survivors, that I think it'd be an amazing unity between the two.
Absolutely.
And I think so that's going to hopefully get running next year, at the start of next year.
Yeah, it's very appropriate to the times that we're going through. I just read an article in the Post the other day that said, unfortunately, in 2015, there were 66 hate crimes, and last year there were over 200. So it's, with the political climate and with the way that, hate speech is in some ways becoming mainstreamed, it's a really dangerous time, and we really need that strength against hate.
Exactly, stronger than hate. That's all. Yeah. That's what they're all about. And so I think, so just working with them for 2 years and getting to go out there for the winter program was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
I love the guys out there. Fantastic. So I went out to go see some colleges out there a year ago, and they were inviting me over. I got to see their new offices. I met all the people I worked with. It was so much fun.
That's the place to go for film. What was it like to actually see the interviews with the Holocaust survivors or the survivors of different genocides that unfortunately have happened?
It's really powerful. And what's interesting about Shoah, they started with this Holocaust testimony, but now they're branching out to everything. It's Rwandan, it's everything. And it's hate crimes to mass murder. It's insane. And they have so many outreaches and so many different forms of testimony. And that makes it even more special. And I think, while I was there, we worked with all different types of testimony, but we centered around Holocaust testimony. And it's extremely powerful. It's really, really intense. The messages they have for the future, it's probably, that's what hit me the most, I think, is that at the end, a lot of the times the interviewer will ask, hey, if you could give a message to someone watching this in so years, whatever. Yeah. They'll give a message. And I think it feels like they're talking, right to you, and it really hits you. And I think, especially now, that's really important to see and look over, because these are people that went through worst genocide.
The extremes of hate, basically.
Exactly. And also something interesting is that all the testimony I watched, they have all the Holocaust survivors, these people were in Nazi camps. They went through the most brutal treatment for years, some of them years, their childhood. Yeah. And they have no resentment, no hate. And I think that's a message that also needs to be carried forward to the future, and stronger than hate again. That's what it is. So it's just so powerful.
Yeah, the remedy to hate is not more hate. It's
exactly.
It's love, acceptance, moving forward. Yeah.
exactly, moving forward for sure.
So speaking of moving forward, what's next for you? In this, you've already done so many amazing things, and yet you've got your hands involved with some stuff that is going to keep you busy for a while.
For sure, yeah.
What do you envision for your future as a videographer and filmmaker?
I definitely in my future love to be able to study and learn more. I'm always open to, I always want to learn more, and I think I have a lot to learn when it comes to film for sure. So I definitely, film school is something I'm definitely thinking about for sure, and I think that'd be, I'd really enjoy it, I think. But I'm also thinking about, you know, just taking it day by day, junior year high school. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're working on the project with
right, exactly.
Freedom with
Free Minds,
Free
yeah,
Minds,
exactly.
and you're spreading your work with the Shoah Foundation, despite the fact that the internship you got no longer exists. You're still involved.
The people who were, like over there were so nice to let me still work with them, because I think they had a great time working with me, and I absolutely loved working with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish you luck in
Thank you.
in continuing the amazing work that you're doing and bringing all these stories to film so
Thank
that
you, yeah.
people can access them so much more easily.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on the show,
Thank
Eli.
you so much for having me, Nathan.
Really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in to Youth Can Change the World. I've really appreciated this conversation with Eli about the amazing things that he has been doing with video. And I hope that you go out there and inspire some youth in your lives.